What is going on, my Warhammer buddies? We've got replays for you and replays galore. So thank you to everyone who sent in videos. If you do, or replays, if you do want to send me a replay to cast, maybe pick my brain on some thoughts or give me some context or whatever. Sorry, just dimming the lights a little bit here because I think it's messing with the camera. Yeah, if you wanna send it to me, I'm always happy to pitch my thoughts at it and you know chew the fat with you on what worked, what didn't work, and brainstorming. I love the like conceptual aspect behind this game. Okay, so with that preamble said, let's hop right into it. I've got a bunch of replays, so let's start with this one from Sixth Path playing the Harganath Executioners versus Padawan G playing the Greenskins. And yeah, just I mean, in terms of what to send me, it doesn't have to be the most competitive game. It doesn't have you don't have to show your tactical brilliance. You don't have to be embarrassed about it. You just have to have fun, and if it provokes discussion, that's even better, because I love talking Warhammer. Okay, so what do we have here? We got Crone Hellebrand up in the air on the Manticore. Very fun. Actually, I really like the Manticore mount. I mean, Hellebrand she's just good. No matter what. I think of all her mounts, probably her worst mount is the Cauldron of Blood, which is a little awkward because that's kind of her shtick, the Cauldron of Blood. But I think she's most effective on horseback or Manticore, and then an off pick might be on foot. But she's got a Death Hag on a Cauldron, so that's still in theme with the army. Sorceress of Beasts, I just want to pause on that for a sec, check her loadout. So Curse of Inner Hair, it's a debuff. That'll be useful for keeping stuff alive. Then Weisfen's Wild Form. The armor on Crone Hellebrand is always helpful because she's only at 45 armor and she doesn't tend to like wearing armor. So slapping some armor on her never hurts. Another plus the weapon damage buff from Weisfen's is always super beneficial with Hellebrand. She synergizes really, really well with a Beastcaster. And if you are going to bring Hellebrand, my recommendation is to bring a Beastcaster, as Sixth Path has done. The other spell you might want to consider bringing on her is Panan's Impenetrable Pelt. Makes her faster, gives her physical resist. She has a base physical resist, maybe not in the Manticore. Let me check that really quick. No, she has missile resistance. She does not have physical resist on the Manticore. But yeah, I like Panan's on her a lot as well. Just for, again, more damage resistance. Because you know she's going to put out the damage. The question is she going to live long enough to continue to be able to dish it out? And Dark Elves don't have access to heals, so the closest they can get to that is just strapping on some armor, some physical resist, and trying to last a little bit longer. So Orc Biggins in the front, Goblin Wolf Riders, some Black Orcs backing them up. Orc Biggins again, Black Orcs, Biggins, a lot of Biggins, Goblin Archers. We got Orc Warboss, uncommon pick, Orc Shaman, also a semi-uncommon pick. Doomdiver Catapult in the back, and some pigs on the edges of the map. So Greenskins are probably a little bit wider than the Dark Elves, hard to say for sure. Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, I brought them in my match against Z-Melon. They're okay, but actually I don't think they're super cost effective against much of anything on Greenskins, except for killing Black Orcs. And other than that, it can be pretty tricky, but we'll see. Goblin Wolf Riders, they do. Yeah, this is not the Spider Riders. The Spider Riders are a problem because they have poison, which can lessen the melee damage of the Dark Rider repeater crossbows. The Goblin Wolf Rider archers do not have that debuff, so not maybe as effective at trading shots with the Dark Riders repeater crossbows, but still decently effective. And they have Firewall moving as well. These new Firewall X coming in here just to screen a little bit, but they don't have the speed, I think, to catch these Goblin Wolf Riders. Ooh, these nice shots coming in here. They are chunking them down. But still, that's pretty valuable ammunition that's being wasted. Well, not wasted, but being used on a unit that's still only about 350 gold. It's pretty cheap disposable unit from the perspective of the Greenskins. What are these Doom Divers doing? They're coming in here and they've been chipping away these Harganath Executioners. Look at that damage on these guys. They haven't even reached the front line. They're already down to 25% HP. So it's pretty hard to throw your Harganath Executioners into the front line, right into the middle of the army, because for sure they're going to be focused down. I don't even think they're going to reach the Black Orcs on the charge. I'm assuming they have their. If you do trigger the charge, it gives a slight buff to leadership, but no, that's the tragedy of bringing high tier infantry as Dark Elf. Usually they don't even reach the front line. Um, well, but he brought another one, so that one's going to die. I guess it was just the sacrificial executioner. The other one will reach. Over here, Foot of Gork just stomped out his own Goblin Archers. I'm very confused about that one because, yeah, usually you don't use Foot of Gork on individual entities, so bit of a misplay there from the Greenskins. Over here, Crone Halibron is going to buff her Death Hag. Gaze of Cain is going to just put her damage up a little bit. Some Witch Elves are being held in reserve here. If they could put in a rear charge, they could probably break those big guns pretty quickly. Big guns do have anti-large. They are chunking down that Death Hag like surprisingly effectively. So that Death Hag is certainly want to get out of there, but granted, it's rampaging right now because of the Gaze of Cain. When Cain speaks, the Death Hag answers, and she's not moving. So Orc Boarboys are still a little passive, but I'm expecting them to get involved in the fight here. Dark Riders does not look like they are in skirmish mode. They're going to take a charge right in the rear there. Super painful. I don't think they recognize that the boars were hidden there. Over here, Halibron's found her way onto the Orc Shaman, so that's a great pickup for Halibron. And if she can make her way over to that Orc Warboss, that'll be another nice pickup for her. In the back, there's some Greenskin Cav, the Orc Boarboys, which are inactive right now. They should be probably trying to put in some rear charges. Goblin Wolf Rider's also inactive, but Sister of Singing Doom tag this Orc Warboss, and I'm sure once he's rampaging, which he will, because you know hot ladies are surrounding him. So if that doesn't get his gander going, I don't know what will. And here comes the hottest lady of them all, Queen Halibron, just in time. And this guy's not going to be here for long. So Greenskins, without their leadership, I think they're going to get destroyed. They're going to feel the wrath of Cain. And I think Sixth Path is going to take this one. So Manticore Summon's doing a lot of work in this game as well. I mean, I did a little theory crafting with Tanker earlier today on what the best Lore of Magic against Greenskins might be, and I think we came to the conclusion that it's probably Lore of Beasts because you get those Manticore summons, and any time you have access to Terror against Greenskins, that is a great thing. So probably if I'm going up against Greenskins, I'll be looking to bring some Manticores in the future. So yeah, you got some intel if you're gonna fight me. So I'm gonna hop right along to the next battle here because I have a lot to get through. So well played to Sixth Path and congrats on the win. And good try there, Padawan. More practice and it'll come. So now we've got a game here from Tanker. So Tanker's been rolling the ladder a little bit lately. I think this is day 2 of his ladder rampage. So let's see what he's got in the tank for us today. Double Giant against Vampire Count's very effective option. I like that pick right away. Bestigor Herd, decently high leadership as far as Beastmen go. Solid pick as well. He's got the Morgar for the Chaos Spawn and all of that goodness. Unbreakable, I like it. And then for the Brave Shaman of Beast, wouldn't surprise me if he has a Manticore summon. He does, so that's probably going to be his glue to try and pin things. Excuse me. He does have Chaos Warhounds with poison, and he's got some Razorgore Herd here as well. So we'll see how they do. They might get a little bit spooked out by things like the Hexawraiths. I'm curious to see how that translates. In the matchup against the Vampire Count, I would like to suggest if you're playing Beastmen, that's one of those matchups where you might want to leave the Chaos Warhounds or the Razorcore at home, unless you're expecting to see Blood Knights, but rather go with the Sons of Goros. The Sons of Goros are a really nice option against Vampire Counts because they do have magic damage, and they'll do well against Blood Knights as well. So they're not a waste if your opponent doesn't bring any Hexwraiths. They're a really good option. But Tanker likes to go wide, and these guys are always cheaper, so let's see. Is he going to try and get the rear charge in here with these Chaos Warhounds? He is going to try and tag these Hexwraiths. So he's going to drop their speed down to 71, which is pretty impressive with the poison. He'll kill a couple of unit models here, it looks like. So not the worst, I suppose. Razorgore Herd are following up behind, trying to tag them, but it looks like those Hexwraiths are going to escape to safety. Looks like those Hexwraiths do have magic damage and fire damage, but it's not the ROR Hexwraiths, the Chillgeist, which I like so much because the Chillgeists are super fast and they're so hard to catch. These ones, they're a little bit whiffy, I think, and especially against Beastmen. I mean, the only thing they got going for them is the Terror. I mean, you look at the Chaos Warhounds, one charge, Chaos Warhounds almost took off right away. That's the one thing I was a little bit like, you know, concerned about. Let's say for the Beastmen is if those Warhounds were going to be able to deal with the Terror. But yeah, cool stuff from. I'm not sure who Tanker's opponent is here, but I think he's doing a lot of good things here. He is chasing after the caster with the Hex Race, but he's going to want to pull out of there before the Giant gets there. Gets in a little touch and go rear charge here, but it's Tanker's turn to play now. He's done with the silly stuff. He's going right after the Mortis Engine with that Bone Giant. Now Right King is going to come over here, try and intercept. These Vargos, I think, have been a little bit inactive, and I'd like to suggest if you're playing Vampire accounts, lead with your Vargos. Don't lead with your Hex Race, because your Hex Race, you're going to lose unit models. The Vargos, they can soak damage, and they can interrupt things. I mean, they're like little mini chariots. They are going to try and hold the line, and again, block the Claw of Nagash up here, and they're going to try and 2v1 this Giant, which is... I don't think it's what they're best at. They can do it, but it's not what they're best at. But Giant number 2 is coming over here to help his boy. And what's this? Manticore Summon coming in here too. So a 2v1 scenario has now turned into a 3v2 scenario for those Vorgals. Over here, these Hex Race have just taken enough damage in aggregate from Chaff that they're starting to get pretty low on leadership. If they do drop below that to that 0 point, they're going to just crumble out instantly. Shaman of Beasts is in the back line here. He's going to probably put in a little charge there to give some love to those guys and finish them off. And how are things going here in the Giant fight? Actually, one of the Giant has taken a lot of damage. I think there's the Right King who's doing some sneaky damage in there as well. These Vargos have actually not done any damage to them. Maybe it looks like the Giant is whacking on some Chaff, some Graveguard. Well, the Vargos and Right King are smacking him in the back. So I think maybe Tanker needs to like force the attacks onto the Right King or the Vargolf. I would suggest the Right King to start with, since that's a little bit more of a permanent sort of damage scenario. But look at this Claw of Nagash getting punked by the Pharaoh Manticores while these Vargos are busy with the Giants. And that Claw of Nagash is getting completely clowned, and now Helman Gorst is in deep trouble. So over here, the Vargos are completely surrounded. They're doing okay, but if Helman Gorst goes down, then that could be a quick game for the Vampires. Over here, Chaos Warhounds with Poison could probably get in a rear charge, and that's exactly what they're going to do here. So nice play by Tanker. Another charge here from a Chariot, going to just help these guys out. The Warhounds are losing. They're not going to do a lot of damage to the heavy armor of Graveguard, that's for sure. But they are applying some leadership penalties, and that is causing the ties to crumble at least. So it's not the worst. Meanwhile, Vampire Counts pretty much have no answers for the Double Giant, as is usually the case. And Helman Gorst is on his deathbed here. Morgar the Shadowgrave has gotten in here, plus that Manticore Summon, and doing some work. Now, the Manticore does look like it's starting to fade. You can see the orange color here. Hi, Sadao. You can see the orange color starting to show up. That's an indication that the summon is about to drop. But it's rampaging. It's buying time. It's doing damage to the Vargolf and other things. And Helman Gorst is officially crumbling at this point. Oh, maybe his leadership is stabilizing. Call of violence from Morgar here. Valenspire is still pretty center locked, I guess. It could go either way still. It's not over. But if Helman Gorst dies, I think it's an uphill battle for Vampire Counts. That said, there's still a leadership pocket intact. Tankers, I think, used most or all of his summons now. I don't think we're going to see any more Chaos spawn, and there's a big question of what it's going to kill these Vargos, or are they going to just cycle charge the Beastmen into oblivion? I don't know. So it looks like Beastmen are trying to consolidate here and just build a bit of a defensive pocket, take out the Right King, eliminate some of that leadership, and push the balance bar. This is what I think the Giant should have been whacking on in the first place, even before the Vargos, so it looks like that mission has been accomplished now that Tanker's Micro is freed up a little bit. And yeah, some rear charges coming in here. Brave Shaman of Beasts, gonna crumble some stuff. Sadao, by the way, I am going to get to your replay. I have it here in my list of to-dos, so hang on tight, buddy. I will get to it. So Giant is getting whacked in the back here, but crumbling out the Sternsman. Giant number 2 is coming over here. In a game of shot for shot, the Giant should win against the Varghulf. With support from the Brave Shaman of Beasts, I think that, and without the leadership, I think the Varghulf is going to crumble pretty quickly. So I'm giving this one to the Beastmen at this point in time. We're going to fast forward and hop on to the next replay. Well done to Tanker. That was a great game. Only suggestion is maybe pick up the Sons of Goros, but then again, maybe if you did, you would have been too thin, and what you did clearly worked. So yeah, I don't know. It looked like he had an answer to everything that Spencer Brewer brought. Cool to see Helmut Gores. So props to Spencer Brewer for bringing him. Not widely considered to be the most competitive Lord pick, but fun. Clive Nagash was not active for long enough, I think, in that map, in that matchup. So yeah. So here we go. We got a game against Beastmen versus the Empire. Tanker is playing the Beastmen. See how it goes. So Tanker's going pretty wide. He's got Bestigor Herd. He's got Razorgore Herd. He's got some Chaos Warhounds, Centaurs, front line of Gore Herd, and what are those double axy choppy ones? I don't know. They just got through. Oh, look at this Vanguard. Tanker savagely going into the back. Empire is probably suspicious at this point. They're not seeing very much in front of them, so I'm gonna expect that they're gonna start turning around, especially knowing they're going against the Beastmen. You got Empire Knights here, pretty heavy cav force. Empire Knights, double demi, 2 Demigryph Knights, 2 Empire Knights. So this infantry, I think, is going to be in tough. I think these Centaurs and these Chaos Warhounds need to stay with the infantry and be that glue so that the infantry doesn't get cycle charged here. They are fighting in the woods. That should favor the infantry slightly. But bit of a tough scenario here. Centaurs can countercharge. They are going to countercharge here. There are some Chaos Warhounds with poison. The only issue is these are very heavily armored Knights. You got Demigryph Knights with Shield of Thorns and AP damage, and Empire Knights also rocking like close to 100 armor, 110 armor. None of this is AP damage. It's going to be really painful. You need probably the Razorgore Herd in there in that cav fight, and it looks like Tanker's Razorgore Herd is over here on this far flank, and I'm not really sure what they're doing over there. Probably he's just busy microing stuff, and I think as a Beastman player, your natural instinct is to try and run over the cannon crews ASAP, and so that's what he's doing basically. But a lot is getting stuck up here on this Warrior Priest, who is able to soak a lot of damage. Of course, there's Volkmar the Mr. Grimm just dropping some Skyfire on the Beastman infantry here, causing a lot of problems. There's a bunch of units here that I'm sure would like to be over here, and they're just getting interrupted from the mass of the Chariot play. And Empire saying, oh yeah, you Beastmen, you like the Chariot, we can Chariot too. In the woods, it says the Demis are losing, but on the other hand, apparently the Chaos Warhounds are also losing and very close to breaking due to leadership. Could go either way here, but Shield of Faith, again, just making everything super tanky, and Beastmen are having a little bit of a hard time to get through that. Empire is super, super tight here, so the question is, does Tanker have any sort of Vortex spells that can deal with the blobbing of the Empire? And it doesn't look like he does. Flock of Doom got left at home, and he doesn't. It looks like he left behind the Vile Tide and the Brace Cream, which is usually a staple of Beastmen to kind of counteract this blobbing sort of play. If you dropped a Brace Cream or a Vile Tide across these Spearmen, or even in here, the ones that are sitting on the cannons, they'd be gone in no time. You could take out the cannon, you could take out the Jadecaster, and you could move on with your life. But it is what it is. Empire Knights are not invincible. It looks like they are close to breaking due to the presence of these Chaos Spawn. And a lot of damage, I mean, it's still too early to call, but a lot of damage is being delivered by the Beastmen now. The cavalry have fallen back to defending this cannon crew and their infantry line instead of cycle charging, which I think is maybe a mistake there. I think at this point they probably should have just abandoned the cannon. In fact, if you're going against Beastmen, you might not want to bring a cannon at all. I would recommend you leave the cannons at home against Beastmen. Go with a mobile shooting build. That's the way to go against Beastmen. If you feel compelled to defend something like a cannon, you're going to take a lot of losses. You're going to get fully surrounded and chunked down. It looks like the Empire's infantry is being ground out here. Demis and Empire Knights are getting chugged down. One thing I will suggest is if you are going to bring Demis and Empire Knights, maybe throw your Warrior Priest in with them so that they have some buffs. Over here, I know the there was the cast from the Jade Wizard that supported the Cav fight. But if the Warrior Priest was there supporting that Cav fight, maybe it could have been won a little bit quicker against the infantry, and then they could have moved on to do some other things. The melee attack buff of the Warrior Priest can be very, very helpful here. There. So congrats to Tanka. That's another win for him. Looks like he went 2 for 2 so far today. Do we have... we got one more from Tanker, and then I gotta move on. I got Sadao here. I've got just a whole bunch more replays. Spiffy, I think, sent me a replay too. So here's Tanker versus someone called Emekasaurus, who's going with the AP of the Ground Knights. Interesting choice against Beastman. I don't know why you would bring... Sorry, the Questing Knights. I don't know why you bring the Questing Knights. I don't know if he was expecting to see heavy armor. Honestly, I don't think they have a role in the matchup against Beastmen, so... If someone knows why you bring Questing Knights against Beastmen, please let me know. That's a mystery to me. Rocks coming in here on Ungor Spearmen. They're going to take a little bit of damage, some fire, but that's okay. They're meant for soaking shots, not a problem. Chaos Warhounds, maybe going to try and slip the gap. They could probably go right through the sphere line and dive the middle. Of course, the spears would likely collapse on them, but that's not the end of the world, because then the other spears could go right around the flank. So I would have liked to see the Chaos Warhounds go right into the middle there and be brave. Instead, it looks like they're going to go off to the side and try and deal with these Questing Knights and lock them up in the spears. I mean, that's an okay play too. It's a preference thing. I like to go right for the jugular, but Tanker being a little bit more methodical and cautious as approach. Charge from the Knights of the Realm here. They're going to get their charge bonus in the Warhounds, Binos, and Razorgore, but actually this is a horrible place for them to be in. Even with the charge bonus, they're going to get absolutely massacred. So, yeah, nice charge bonus, but not charging into the right things. Similarly over here, Questing Knights probably got the charge bonus in, but Tanker's going to easily wrap up all of that without any problem. Alberic's chasing after the Beastcaster. That's the right call. The Pharaoh Manticore is going to try and muck up Alberic and give the Beastcaster a little bit of breathing room. Beastcaster is going to need to peel through the Binos with shield if he wants to stay alive. Over here on this flank, we have the Companions of Crenel, who are getting ground down by the combination of Razorgore and other things. So Razorgore is just showing incredible value in chopping up this very expensive Regiment of Renown. Spears and the poison, just debuffing the stats and making it a very one-sided affair here. Actually, I'm not seeing... Oh, these aren't... it says poison. Oh yeah, I see the poison. Yeah. So the weapon strength is down a little bit. So that's true. Over here, Alberic is... he got stuck up in the Minos and the Pharaoh Manticore. Let's check in on that Beastman caster. Where's he at? It looks like he got hit and fled to the back, but he rallied. Meanwhile, Morgor is going balls deep into the defense, chopping up some spears, getting some opportunities for rear charges and other things. Trebuchets, again, I mean, maybe leave the Trebuchets at home if you're going against Beastmen. Very hard to defend a fixed point when you're playing against Beastmen. But yeah, some people don't feel comfortable without at least one piece of artillery. So if that's your thing, I mean, who am I to say? But these bowmen are about to get locked up. Trebuchet is about to get locked up, and over here, it's bad news for these halberds. They are fully surrounded. They are men at arms right now, but they will be men without arms very shortly once the Warhounds chew them up. And Alberic is going to get a little sweet revenge here from this Bratian Beast who's coming over, tapping him in the butt, along with the Razorgore herd. So it's pretty much all she wrote for the Bretonnians at this point in time. We'll just go to the sweet end screen and move on to the next game. So well played to Tanker. I like the Mino picks against Bretonnia. Z Melon has shown how effective this monstrous infantry can be against Bretonnians. Minotaurs with shields are more vulnerable than Femira with great weapons, I think, because they don't have that inherent missile resist. Yeah, they have shields. I mean, shields will screen missiles, but if you want to bring the great weapon Minotaurs, I think you have to drop the shields, and if you drop the shields, that means you're more vulnerable to missile fire. If you don't drop the shields, then you don't have that anti-large bonus, which is so helpful against Bretonnia. So in terms of monstrous infantry, I still think Norsca gets the edge, but I mean, they'll brace a line, and you saw how they were able to support the Beast Caster a little bit. All right, so what else we got here? It's from Spiffy versus Sagittari Orientalis as the High Elves. Let's see this one. Hi, Tanker. I hope you're doing good, man. Good to see you. Thank you for those 3 replays. Sagittari Orientalis going with a draw kite build, basically, with some triple. These are really hard builds to deal with, by the way. You get some big, large things to interrupt, some double hand maintenance to snipe, techless for snares, and then chariots. And you basically abuse the shit out of large as much as you can. You can hide your small, like he's doing here. Yeah, it's tough to deal with. It's really tough. So let's see if Spiffy is able to win this one, but I think it's going to be a very hard matchup for him. And this is probably not how you want to start it off, getting charged by the Frostheart Phoenix. Frostheart is going to cause some debuff effects as well. Let's just take a quick look at that, because sometimes I forget what they are. Oh, it's saying Terrified. I mean, that's of course a debuff of sorts, but it's this one I'm interested in. Okay, it's giving damage resistance. So wherever the Frostheart Phoenix goes, something's going to have damage resistance. And it also does this, Blizzard Aura, 12% less weapon damage, 9 less melee attack, and 12% less AP damage. So the Frostheart Phoenix is going to want to basically debuff wherever the damage is at. And it can support cav fights very easily. It can support the Star Dragon from getting gooned from any air air assault squads, which Bretonnia is more than capable of bringing. I mean, if you went all in on an Alberic, Hippogriff, Pegasus combo and tried to fight a Star Dragon plus a Frostheart Phoenix, you might be able to win, but it would be atrocious. I mean, both sides would take a beating there for sure. So I think here Spiffy is trying to find out, okay, well, what am I supposed to hit that's solid? And I think you got to be really disciplined with these Yeomen here. Like, you got to lead with your infantry. If something like this happens, let him waste all his shots on his infantry. Keep these guys in the back. Don't go chasing waterfalls like TLC, because you're not going to catch them, especially with Techless, who's going to sit there and net you as soon as you come close. I mean, you're throwing all this value right in front of him right now. These Peg Knights, like Techless is licking his lips. You got 2 Handmaidens of the Everqueen. You got 3 Chariots here. They're going to shoot the crap out of the Royal Pegs. I'm surprised he's even shooting the Yeomen. He should not be. He should be shooting the Pegs. But yeah, and here as well, the Paladin he's going to get plowed in here. This is just way too much for a single Paladin to deal with. So I mean, okay, personally, I hate going against builds like this. They're really hard to deal with, and unless you bring a very, very specific tool set, it's tough. You have to go really, really heavy in on anti-large, and I think High Elves in particular can abuse this more than most other races. I think for Bretonnia it's tough because you don't have AP shooting very well. These Foot Squires aren't going to cut it against the Dragon or Chariot play. And so really, to kill this, you need to have a bunch of duelists. And you need to run over his front line, and then, yeah, I mean, oof, it's tough, man. It's tough. The Prophetess of Heavens has no good targets here, really, but it's not all bad for Spiffy. He's caught the Tyrannok Chariot, so let's look on the bright side. Good job, Royal Peg Knights. He's got 2 units of Peg Knights. I mean, that's not nothing. And a Paladin. And the Prophetess. So he's got some Air Force, but most of his Air Force is pretty light stuff. He doesn't have any punch in his Air Force. If you're going to go Bretonnia, you probably want something with AP up in the air, which means Hippo or Alberic, something. I think just based on this army select, I don't think Spiffy has the tools. 3 units of Foot Squires, 3 units of Halberds. No, 4 units of Foot Squires, 4 units of Halberds. I think it's too much AP infantry, and then there's no anti-air shooting, no AP shooting. So I think just your build could use a little bit of work here, just to give you a few more options. I think a unit of Hippos is definitely needed. Maybe 1 unit of archers to screen these chariots. Poison could be good to slow them down. Fire archers give you a little bit of AP. It's not very much, but it's something. And don't forget, I mean, a Star Dragon is expensive. It's 2,400 gold. For 2,400 gold, you can afford 6 units of archers at 400 gold a pop. 6 units of archers could put up a lot of shots. So, I mean, archers are part of the Bretonnian package. If you want to play Bretonnia, I think you should bring a few archers just to keep your opponent honest. I think, yeah, it's going to be tough here. So let's say you forgot the archers at home, you forgot the hippos, and you got to work with what you have. What are you going to go for? Well, you want to kill Teclis if you can. You're going to want to try and bait out his net somehow, I suppose, and then you're going to probably want to all-in him. So here's the net's down. So you know that his net's on cooldown. So next time you can dive Teclis and he can't get anywhere. That might create a small opening for you. Halberds are nearby. You do have some halberds. Halberds have anti-large. They have AP. Their leadership is poverty, though, so they might just run away from something like a Star Dragon. And the chariots are going to be clearing space for their dragons as well. But yeah, these Peg Knights need to try and pin Teclis, and they need to fight on the ground where their infantry can help them. If they fight up in the air, they're going to die because there's no AP up in the air. There's just not enough up in the air. So the fight for Bretonnia at this point, it has to be on the ground. UMN are going to tag these chariots. I don't know if they're going to if they do enough damage to kill a Tiranoc chariot. Probably. I mean, Cav usually wins against chariot. Even low tier Cav, maybe not. UMN, yeah, not even. I guess they're just a snare. So. Over here in this big fight, we've got the Paladin and the Peg Knights going toe-to-toe with the Dragon, but wherever the Dragon is, these guys should be cutting. They're faster than the Dragon. They can just run away from the Dragon. They need to go after this big boy here, whose net is down, and then they need the Dragon to come and land basically here. Because if you fight the Dragon up the air, what's going to happen? Well, Teclis is going to pop regrowth on the Dragon. Probably, maybe I'm going to have to eat my words. The Dragon is wavering here. The Frostheart Phoenix got here maybe a little bit late. Oh, but he's just stabilizing his leadership. I don't know. I haven't seen the regrowth roll down, though. So I think Teclis is sleeping on the job here. I also think these Handmaidens... yeah, the Handmaidens are shooting the Royal Peg Knights, and they are chopping them down slowly but surely. Tiranoc Chariot's going to come over here and probably interrupt some stuff. But yeah, look at these 2 units of Halberds, including the Beast Slayers of Baston, not being used at all, really, on that fight against the Star Dragon. Well, close battle, though. Okay, you know what? I tip my hats to these Royal Peg Knights. They are doing way better against that Star Dragon than I expected they would. The Paladin, I guess, was supporting their leadership there, and Spiffy sent in the Prophetess to also support the leadership, just get every little bit of juice value that he can get out of them. The Tiranoc Chariot does go down here from the Men-at-Arms Polearm, so a bit of a micro mistake from the High Elf player. I'm not sure what he was microing there. This Tiranoc Chariot also seems to be stuck in some Peasant Mob. Yeah, just more Peasant Mob, and so getting ground down slowly there, but this is tough. Now the Prophetess is going to be spending probably the rest of the game running away from the Frostheart, and a net from Teclis is going to take the Bretonnian leadership off the field, which is a big deal if there's Terror here. Why am I not seeing any regrowths? I mean, Teclis has regrowth. Why is he not popping it on his Star Dragon? I'm very confused. This is a little bit dangerous for Teclis to do, like dropping his Star Dragon down here with only 800 HP next to some Foot Squires with AP damage. If they can mob him, they might even kill the Star Dragon. It's unlikely. Nah, he got out. Ooh, he got out. But that was a bit of a risky play there. The Foot Squires are going to chop up the Spearman, no problem. I'm surprised the Frostheart's not chasing Prophetess off the board, but I guess he figures the Handmaiden can do that with shooting. Is that a... What is that cast? Arcane Conduit, I think? Yeah. Trying to get a last little bit of Wind's Magic juiced up here, but Terror, Fear, whatever is going to break that off. The lone Royal Peg Knight over there, not doing a whole lot. In the back, the Mounted Yeomen are chasing off Tiranoc Chariot, and these, I don't know, the infantry seems to be going the wrong direction right now, but I think Spiffy just realized that at the same time I did, and he's going to send the peasants to screen over here with the Foot Squires. But I'm expecting to see a lot of cycle charging going on here very shortly. Prophetess is about to die. I don't think she has the speed to kite that. So Bretonnian leadership off the field now. So what can Bretonnia do? Well, there's a couple infantry units here that they can push towards, I suppose. They're definitely going to want to regroup. I'm going to fast forward a little bit here because I think we got a bit of jockeying for position. A charge going in on the Handmaiden. So Handmaiden is pretty quick. You're going to have a hard time keeping her in place. I mean, a charge, not the worst, but You need these yeomen very, very badly to snare in your halberds. So you need to go after the least mobile things on the field, which are these. That's the only thing you really have a chance of catching. It's the spearmen. Other than that, you're going to have to button down the hatches, let them charge you, and then counter charge with your yeomen. If you lead with your yeomen are going to get charged by their mobile units, which is the dragon, the frostheart, the handmaidens, whatever else. If you lose your yeomen, you get cycle charged to death. Yeah. So we're going to fast forward a little bit here. Just some regrouping and okay, so what's going on here? We have the balance force still decently even. The halberds are doing work here, but you see the yeoman, that was the first thing that they went after. They terror routed from the dragon. Regrowth is now being propped on the dragon. That's going to be really tough. These mounted yeomen are going after Teclis, which is nice, but there's nothing to follow that damage here, and they probably would have been better. Yeah, I don't know, man. At this point, I think it's just too tough for the Bretonnians. They don't have enough left here. These polearms are basically what had to happen was when the dragons land, the yeomen need to charge, but they need to charge in a situation where the dragon gets pinned in the polearms. If the dragon's not in the polearms when the yeomen charge the dragon, then Bretonnia has no chance of winning this fight. Teclis is going to regrowth and cycle charge them to oblivion, and yeah, I mean, in tourney rules, if all they have left are individual entities on the field, as seems to be the case now, I think all the spearmen are gone, then in tourney rules, they would have to stay and fight. But I don't think this is a tourney, so they can continue to cycle charge, and probably that's what we're going to see here from the Star Dragon. Oh, Teclis is stuck in here. He's going to Potion of Troy his way. How is Teclis still stuck? Wow. Yeah. So Bretonnia doesn't hold on for the lady this time, but maybe this lady wasn't the one that they wanted to protect after all. Maybe she didn't make the cut. I don't know. I hate going against builds like this. I absolutely hate it. But there are people who run them, so you have to be prepared to deal with them. I think. So instead of double royal Peg Knights, I would bring one unit of regular Peg Knights, perhaps, just to soak some damage and for the speed, and then you can do your damage with the hippos. You don't need. I mean, these guys did better than I expected. I will give them credit for that. And maybe if they do have Teclis, they could have wrapped up Teclis and killed him. But yeah, those are a couple suggestions from me, Spiffy. Maybe you'll see it differently from me. Okay, so finally getting on to this matchup from Sidal playing Greenskins versus Scythian as the Dwarfs. I wanted to cast this one last time. I screwed it up. I'm going to try again. So we got Sidal with Mr. Wurzag himself. Triple, check that, triple Goblobbers. You don't see that very often. Or Grudge Throwers, Goblobbers, I don't know. They're throwing rocks. And then there's Organ Gun on the Dwarf side, some Longbeards, and yeah, so Organ Gun is not going to have great range. Granted, this is a very small map, so it probably has enough range. But 3 units of artillery probably going to be able to smash it. And smash it they shall, it looks like. On the other hand, Longbeards, they don't have too far to go until they are able to start doing some work. So where's the AP on the Greenskin side? Do they have any Black Orcs to deal with the Longbeards? They do not. They do have Trolls. Trolls are a bit of a difficult pick against Dwarfs because of the Iron Drakes or Thunderers or Quarrelers or things like that. They're larger targets than Black Orcs. I tend to prefer Black Orcs against Dwarfs for that reason. But they can heal, so they're not the worst. But and yeah, Trolls are not that expensive either, but 800 gold, you only got 16 models. I usually prefer for an extra 300, you get a full unit of Black Orcs. And they'll do pretty well against everything on the Dwarf roster, so that's my preference. But yeah, so in terms of the artillery fight, did Scythian pull his crew off the cannons? Maybe he did. I think he's remanning them down. I'm not really sure about that. Actually, all 4 artillery pieces still online. Shots going into Biggins, so pretty good damage. Killed about half a unit of Biggins right now. That's about 400 gold worth of value that Scythian's been able to pick up off of the shooting alone. On the other hand, half a unit of of Troll Hammer torpedoes, and a quarter of a unit of Troll Hammer torpedoes are just about dead now. Troll Hammers, I don't remember what they go for, maybe in the 900 to 1100 range. So it looks like off the initial shot, things are favoring Sadao, and Wog is certainly going to help things even further. So looks like the Slayers are making a hard push for the backline here. Usually Slayers are like a backline unit, but in a pinch, if the artillery duel is going bad, Slayers do have the most mobility outside of gyrocopters on the Dorfroster, and they can make a push for things like artillery. On the other hand, it looks like they're getting caught in a goblin screen here, so I think Scythian needs to just continue, commit to that strategy and force path his way through here. They do have the speed, I think, to outrun. Let me check that. There's a lot going on here. I think they do have the speed to outrun the goblins. Goblins 33 speed, Slayers 40 speed. So there's nothing here that can stop him. Scythian, unless the trolls dive that backline. And these goblins are not the poison goblins. They're not the night goblins. So they're not debuffing the speed of the Slayers. Slayers can book it into the back line if they force path their way through. So charge going to go here from Sadao into the artillery piece, take that out, but the cannons are, the gobblers are actually still firing. So those rocks are coming in on the Orc Warboys at the same time that they're hitting the cannon. Maybe it's meant to be disposable. Maybe there's some grand scheme that's also trying to ball up the Dragonback Slayers. Who knows about the machinations of Sadao? But the next rocks are going to land on some pigs and some Slayers probably at the same time. Over here, the Longbeards are wrapped up in the Biggins and the Spheres and the Trolls. And Trolls, yeah, I mean, if the Trolls aren't being shot, they're going to do work. And Scythian's pretty thin on the midline shooting. The only midline shooting he has are these Iron Drakes. And the Iron Drakes have been, first of all, depleted from the artillery fire. And secondly, they're being smashed by Orc Warboys because the front line pushed up so far and there was nothing kept in reserve to deal with these. Actually, Scythian, he kept his Slayers in the back to protect the Organ Gun, but if you add up the cost of 2 units of Iron Drakes with Troll Hammer torpedoes, they're worth more than the Organ Gun. So if you're going to put the Slayers anywhere, you probably want to keep them with the Troll Hammers, and probably you want to put them maybe in this midline position so that they're in between that Organ Gun and your 2 units of Troll Hammers, instead of having them at the back where the gun is here, and then you have your 2 Troll Hammers up here. So just a minor micro comment there. Over here, some Longbeards are going to break up. Hey Festus, how's it going, man? I recognize your name now. Wurzag is going to run like hell from Iron Fist, but not... Oh! Yeah, so Sadao is paying attention to his micro. He's going to effigy Ungram a little bit out of his boys. That's going to hurt the leadership of these Longbeards a little bit if he's out of that encourage radius. I want to just pause on that. Usually you got a 40-meter range, I think, with the encourage effect. Let's see if he's within range here. Encourage. Is it going to show it? No, it's not going to show it. But I think it's about 40-meter range. So he's probably just on the edge of that. I'm not sure if these Longbeards are receiving that buff or not. I guess I could check the leadership and maybe it would say. Dragonback Slayers are cutting up the Arc Warboys pretty well. Trollhammer torpedoes have rallied, but at this point they're an afterthought. There's only, what, 8 unit models left? They do have a lot of ammo, but they haven't gotten any value, really. Organ Gun's going to be erased by this regrouped unit of Orc Warboys, and Gotrek is headed in the wrong direction. I don't know where he's going, because he has no hope of catching those Warboys, and he has no hope of protecting that Organ Gun. So Gotrek probably should have just gone toe-to-toe with Ungram and hoped that he could beat Wurzag. Wow, here we go from Wurzag, doing a ton of damage here. Surprisingly, he's decided to take the fight with Ungram Iron Fist. That's a brave play. Two or three swings of his axe, Ungram could probably kill Wurzag, but maybe with the charge bonus and a little bit of other damage, which I don't know where it came from. Wurzag is doing work here, man. I'm super impressed with Wurzag. Granted, Ungram is fighting his infantry screen here. Waga's prowess, I mean, I still wouldn't want to go toe-to-toe with Ungram. Even with that little health, I mean, it's not worth it. Rocks are probably hitting Wurzag as well, too. It looks like the rocks were going at Ungram, so maybe that's where the sneaky damage was coming from. But yeah, Wurzag, well, he'll rid off, but I don't think he needed to take that fight, at least not yet. We'll see. Gotrek is still back here, so killing Gotrek could be an issue if the Greenskin infantry gets chopped off the field. These these are Slayers. Slayers are fighting in Biggin, so they don't want to be there. Again, these Slayers can force path their way right in here. No problemo. Unless the Trolls are tar pitting them. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe the Trolls are. Ooh, Foot of War going down here. Just smashing the Trolls, but the Trolls will heal. They don't mind a little foot every once in a while. Trolls do have a reputation of being pretty stinky, so that's fine. Wurzeg in the back. Yeah, Wurzeg in the back. He's alive. That's all he has to do. He has to be alive just to secure that leadership. Because if Wurzeg's dead, these goblins are gone. These orc boys are gone. These orc boys are gone. Trolls are iffy on leadership too. So yeah, we'll see. But man, these rock lobbers have been firing the whole game unobstructed. There was no vanguard play, no rangers, nothing to make Sadal think a little bit about pushing his cavalry into the front lines. And it looks like the dwarf infantry is almost done. So it's really on Gotrek, I think, at this point to try and carry the day. And I think he's going to get fully surrounded very soon by a lot of stuff. I'm going to fast forward and see if my my predictions shall be foretold or whatever. I don't... Clairvoyance, yada yada, voodoo magic, let's go. Wurzeg is not... he's still thirsty for blood. He's already killed Ungrim, and now he's going for Gotrek too. He does hit pretty hard with some Psycho Charge. I've seen Wurzeg like put the beating on a dragon before. I have not seen him go toe-to-toe with Ungrim and Gotrek. That is... Sadal, you are a more ballsy man than me. Little healing pop from Gotrek there. But he's done. He's done. Yeah. Festus saying his Bretonnian Lord once missed 6 times in a row. I mean, stranger things have happened, right? Thanks for that one, Sadal. That was cool. All right, I got another replay here from Six Path. I'm going to go through this one quick, and then I got one from myself, actually, from earlier today against Z Chaffins. So, yeah. So what do we have from Six Path? So something similar to what we saw from him earlier. He's got the Hellebron build with the Beastcaster. Nice stuff there. I like it. He swapped the Death Hag on the Cauldron for a Hydra, so a little bit more burnination. He's got double Harganeth Executioners, so not afraid to go with the high tier chaff, or the high tier infantry, I guess. High tier infantry always vulnerable to shooting, but in the right place it can do a lot of work. Chameleon Skinks, these are a nightmare for Dark Elves to deal with. Actually, one thing I want to try, and I haven't tried yet, is to see how the Sirens... Sirens, I think they're called. It's not Sirens. Sirens? I don't know. How those Medusas do against these Chameleon Skinks, because they do have some shots, and they might be the answer to these skirmishers that I've been looking for. I've been searching far and wide for like a decent answer to these. The Harpies, they get kited. When they land, they just run away. The Dark Riders have problems getting in there without... let's put it this way. Dark Riders can reach them in a reasonable amount of time. Sorry, they can reach them because they're fast enough even with the poison, but to catch them because of the poison, they're going to have to like run across half the map, and then by the time they get there, usually there's some infantry or a spear screen or something else, right? And Dark Elves don't have access to like a hard snare. They have Malakos, but you don't want to use, your winds of magic usually on skirmishers. It's not a great use of your winds, but anyway. So maybe Medusa is an answer to that. That's something I really want to play test. Gorok's taking a lot of shots to the face here from some Way Watchers. But he's pretty, look at this, 60 armor, Rock of Itza, 44% physical resist. So he's just shrugging shots like it ain't no thing. On the other hand, Way Watcher's shooting a Bastiladon Reviv Crystal, that is huge value. This is something Lizardmen definitely want to keep in the back line. They do not want to lead with this Reviv Crystal. And 3 volleys, that thing's going to be gone. You got to protect these Reviv Crystals at all costs if you're playing Lizardman. That's an $1,100 unit that can single-handedly carry the game for you if it goes to late game with just long-term power heals and terror routes, and that's gone already. So don't throw that in front of the Wood Elves. Over here we do have looks like a comet went down, probably trying to tag the Executioners. It looks like Six Path was able to dodge well, a little bit. I don't know. No, he lost half a unit of Executioners there, so I don't know how well that worked out for him. But Hellebron's in here. I'm going to slow this down because it's 2v2 action. There's a lot going on. Hellebron's going here with the Ripperdactyls. Dark Riders plus Hellebron should be able to cut those up pretty quickly. Dark Riders with shields are being snared, though. And the Dark Riders, the Dark Shards. The Dark Shards, the problem with the Dark Shards is their foot speed is abominable. For elves, like 33 speed is it's not going to cut it. Actually, these guys are also quite slow, so it looks like Six Path is trying to get out of these woods here, but he's not going to have I don't think the foot speed to do it. I mean, Saurus are not the fastest things in the world, but Chameleon Skinks are super quick, 48 speed. They can certainly snare and force the fight with Saurus if they so choose. So a bit of a tough situation there for Six Path, but we'll monitor it closely. He's still got the Hydra. A Hydra can go in there, interrupt things. Of course, Manticore summons can also change things pretty quickly. And look, that's the first Manticore summon coming down for Six Path. Up in the air it goes. Probably it could have been summoned on the other side. Maybe closer to Mazdamundi, I'm not sure. How are things going on this flank? Looks like it's going pretty well for the Wood Elves. Rear charge is about to go in on these Saurus Warriors. Temple Guard are bogged down in Wildwood Rangers. That's a good situation for the Wood Elves to be in. And Gorok, his buffs are gone, and he's taken 4 units of Waywatcher shots to the face. So even with that damage resistance and the tankiness of that Footlord, he's not invincible. And now with the Reviv Crystal so far away, he's going to be shot. Reviv Crystal hasn't had enough. He's going to walk into range of the Waywatchers again, it looks like. Probably get shot again. Manticore did get summoned, but hasn't been used just yet. Coincidentally, the Ripperdactyls walked into the Manticore and took some damage there, and Waywatchers are also going to help out there. So I'd like to see Six Path use that Manticore, maybe support Hellebron in this fight, perhaps dive this Bastiladon Reviv Crystal. We shall see. Spears are taking damage, but they're doing a lot of damage to Hellebron as well. So Hellebron has to be a little bit careful here. Hellebron can do okay against this Mazdamundi, but this is a shame. Feral Manticore going to waste here. It's been summoned and it's about to crumble. Hasn't been used at all. 3 units of Waywatchers here are getting smashed by repeated summons or repeated bounce spells from Mazdamundi. We just saw Ruination of Cities go off, and now we're seeing a Banishment. So pretty good value from Mazdamundi. That was a nice play that almost brought the bar back to even here. But this Reviv Crystal has taken some damage. It looks like the Waywatchers have been able to snipe the second Revivification Crystal. So now the only heals left are probably from Mazdamundi. Mazdamundi did get a proc from the Reviv Crystal. He does have Apotheosis, so he can still soak some damage, but I think Six Path is not going to forget about this Manticore because he really wants to use it, I'm sure, in this desperate fight between Koro and Hellebron and Mazdamundi for all the marbles. Over here in the woods, there's kind of a wash-up fight between the executioners, some corsairs and other things, but that's not the main fight. The main fight is right here, and that's been won by Six Path, and he did bring the Witch Brew, I believe, that makes Hellebron go crazy. I don't know. I don't know if the Manticore did get used there against Mundi or not. Maybe I missed it, but it's being used now, and it just broke some spears with a really nice rear charge. So the next priority target is probably that Bastiladon Reviv Crystal. But Hellebron does have some AoE buffs. If she wants to shore up this backline here too, that's not the worst option in the world. Ooh, that's going to savage the rest of these guys in here. Are these Blades of Bloodcreed? No, they are regular Harganeth Executioners, but they do damage, especially when Hellebron's told them to. More Sisters Thorn just interrupting Kite and Fight build from the Wood Elves mostly, but there are a couple unit of Wildwood Rangers who've been in the right place against Temple Guard and Saurus Warriors. So for the most part, I'm very impressed with the play of the Wood Elf player. He shot the right things at the right times. Erased Gorok, erased the Caster, erased the Bastiladon, helped out against the Pterodon Riders, helped out against the other Revivification Crystal, no doubt put some damage in on Mundi. So those 4 Waywatchers getting absolutely full value for the Wood Elf player, and there's been nothing that's really suppressed them. If you are Lizardmen, how do you deal with that? Well, Ferrocoal ones are a good option. They can certainly deal with them. Alternatively, you can just throw up a whole bunch of Skinks and just pressure them back. Skinks are a great option. These guys will do good too. Chameleon Skinks. They got missile resist. They got decent combat stats. They only cost 600 gold. You can throw this Chameleon Skinks into melee against the Waywatchers. They'll do all right. The Waywatchers are shooting into this blob here, probably killing a bunch of Harganeth Executioners and Witch Elves. I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, these are just regular Saurus Warriors. The Witch Elves and Executioners are probably worth more than that. But it doesn't really matter at this point. I think the Balance Spart has declared a winner, and we don't need to spend too much more time on this game. So congrats to Six Path on that win. Cool stuff. I love seeing Hellebron. She's my favorite lord. She always has been. Anyone who goes for straight damage and no heals gets my respect. So props, buddy. Trolls and Orc Boar Boys are AP, comment from Sadao, just in reference to the last match. I agree, they are AP, but they're both large, which means that the dwarves are able to shoot them easier than if they were able to shoot a small target. Like the Thunderers and things like that, they would be obstructed if they tried to shoot into Black Orcs through a Longbeard screen. But trolls would not be obstructed. They could snipe the trolls over the heads of the Longbeards if he had one unit of Thunderers. I know he likes his Trollhammer torpedoes, but I think Thunderers are just a very solid option. If you bring one or two units, and then they can make Cav think twice before charging, especially if there's Slayers nearby. All right, so I got a replay from myself here. This was against Z Chaffins earlier today. We played a couple games, just play testing some different things. We played a few games, Greenskins versus Dark Elf, and then here's a game with Dark Elf versus Vampire Counts. So you may have seen I did some quick battles lately where I tried to go like more of a mobile force against Vampire Counts, but then they couldn't really catch me and I couldn't really grind them down in a death ball. So I'm like, all right, well that led to some bad blood. So let me try and come up with like a more traditional. Yeah, you don't need speed against Dwarfs though, Sedaus. Dwarfs are slow as hell. I mean, they can't kite you. Troll hammers destroy infantry as well. Okay, maybe. You had a pretty good answer to the troll hammers anyways, though. I mean, where the fighting was the Longbeards, and then the question is, would the Black Orcs do better against the Longbeards, or your Biggins supported by Trolls? And Biggins plus Trolls cost more than Black Orc, then I think it might have taken a bit longer too. But both will work, I suppose. So charge here from the Ravagers of Rakarth. So I'm playing Dark Elf, by the way. Chaffins is playing Vampire Coast. So I think there's been a nerf, right, to the mass of these guys. It looks like they're having a little bit more trouble pulling out of the infantry than they used to. I wanted to bring at least one mobile shooting option here, and these guys are pretty fun, right? They're cool. They can shoot a lord up in the air. So Chaffins has brought the Strigoi Ghoul King. I haven't talked about the army list very much, so let's just pause on that really for a second. So I brought Marathi. Marathi, she's got her traditional like debuff kit. So this minus 9 melee defense, minus 9 melee attack. I brought Doom and Darkness because you can crumble a lot of stuff. I brought the Soul Blight or Soul Stealer in case she needs a heal. Power of Darkness for more winds, Pit of Shades. And yeah, but these two, minus 9 melee attack, minus 9 melee attack, those two, and then this one here is Shield Blade, minus 5 melee attack, minus 23 melee attack, I think, if my math is right. It could be really off. You can double check that. I don't really care that much. Figure it out. And then I wanted to try some Sisters of Slaughter. Sisters of Slaughter have really high melee defense. The low melee attack of the Undead, I thought would struggle to get through them. And then I brought these Siren of Red Ruin. So this was an experimental pick for me. I brought the ROR one with the Whale of Malice, which has the AoE damage effect, 30 meter range. So I thought that might do some work. And I figured like in a casual game between friends, it's the time to test it out. So Strigoi Ghoul King, going to get in a charge here on these Ravagers of Rakarth. I didn't want to lose them straight up, so I'm going to counter charge with the Slaanesh Harvesters. Looks like the Slaanesh Harvesters just like instantly, I don't know why these four died. It looks like they were pulling away from them, so unless they got run over by their own chariot, like that was really weird to me. But anyway, I lost a bunch of unit models there, so I'm like, that's kind of going bad. Even though I had the Word of Pain there, this was very painful for me. So I tried to peel them out. But Chaffin's with a nice play here. Tries to snare these Slaanesh Harvesters in a unit of Crypt Ghoul summons. So I like that out of Chaffin's. Initial fight is not going my way. I've lost a very expensive unit of Slaanesh Harvesters almost. I'm going to pop a Soul Blight here, try and keep them alive. Or did that... Actually, no, I think that was from Chaffin's. Yeah, he's the one with Soul Blight. So actually, these guys are getting their melee damage debuffed. So front line engagements going on here. I've got the Karen Wraiths being shot by the Siren of Red Ruin. She does have magic damage. So magic damage against Karen Wraiths, that is huge value for me. 2-3 shots have already chunked off almost 50% of the HP of these Karen Wraiths. And now it's getting into the blob fight time. So this was where the Dark Elf blob ability was really going to be tested. The Noble on foot. So I brought the Siren of Red Ruin actually also to... Oh, she looks like she's obstructed here, unless she's reloading. Sometimes it says she's obstructed. Sometimes units say they're obstructed when they're reloading. I've seen that on Cygors. But anyway, yeah, I was hoping that like maybe her mask could kind of buff the heroes from like cycle charges or just getting knocked around. And then I've got Morathi, the Master, and the Death Hag. Turns out because of the Karen race, I decided not to have her in here, which I probably should have. But anyway, you know, battles are hectic and stuff happens. But I had the Slaanesh Harvesters in a pinch here. They could have done some stuff. I am going to try and square up this flank here, just try and get a little bit of a defensive pocket while my damage goes down on this flank. So if you're Vampire Coast, this is the flank you got to piece out of. If you see Morathi, if you see the Death Hag, if you see the Noble, go to the other side. Looks like Chaffins is going to try and do that. Striga Ghoul King going to get hit with a Soul Stealer. But look at all this stuff. Melee attack 0, melee attack 0, 8, 0. Like just basically crap across the board. And I'm going to watch carefully here for the Siren of Red Ruin. See if she drops her stuff soon. But yeah, Karen Ray is getting absolutely erased here. And meanwhile, the Ravagers of Rakarth are coming over here. So here comes the Karen Wraith. I think this is okay. So let's just take a quick look at this. So I just popped the Siren of Red Ruin ability. You see that circle effect? All of that stuff is taking damage from the Whale of Malice, and it looks like it's like almost immediately crumbling all of these units, which were not in great shape to begin with. Striga Ghoul King is going to come over here and probably try and charge the Cyrene, but seeing that, I pulled her over to my Noble, and Noble Anti-Large is going to do pretty well here. Maybe I got lucky with the attack animation too. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But I'm going to get a charge here on the Ghoul King as he tries to get away. Siren of Red Ruin is like a decent melee combatant. She's got 390 weapon damage with like AP. So supported by the Slaanesh Harvesters, the poison effect, she's going to do a little bit of damage. Don't forget there's the Overwatch Fire coming from the Ravagers of Rakarth as well, who are snaring further this Striga Ghoul King. And seeing that he's on the ground, hit with the poison, I'm actually going to charge them into melee, and the combined effect of the poison plus they have this this like snare net thing here. It's pretty sneaky. Minus 12 speed plus the poison effect. This guy's rocking 57 speed right now. So that's a unit that usually has 90 speed. Like you can't. Oh, okay, so Sidal's saying my Medusa shot my Warlocks. That explains it. Well, anyway, that's a unit that usually has 90 speed. He's down to 57 because of the poison plus that Serenet. So that's a really nice situation for me. And he's so far away from the second Terrorgeist that I will be able to put a lot of pressure on that Vamp Lord. And unless he has a summon, I don't know what he's going to do. So there's this unit over here. It looks like some of the infantry is kind of stationary, perhaps busy with the micro over here. I'm going to make him pay with that. So what this infantry needed to do is they need to rotate around here and try and hit some stuff in the back. A little bit late on that. And Striga Ghoul King, I haven't seen any breath attacks come down from either of these Terrorgeists as well. So I think those Terrorgeists probably could have used those breaths maybe on the Blackguard, maybe on the Sisters, maybe on the Noble. I mean, there's a lot of options for that. Maybe on the Cyrene. Terrorgeists, they do best against large targets. So probably the Cyrene would have been where you would have netted most value on those. From those breaths. On the other hand, Blackguard and Sisters of Slaughter are very expensive. Sisters of Slaughter have decided not to wear any clothes, so breaths on clothless ladies probably does work. I don't know. Untested theory. Over here, Banshee and is going to be fighting a Death Hag plus a Noble. That's a 2v1 scenario. Pretty good for me. Morathi, I wanted her over here in the Banshee support, but you know, I was like, she's doing her thing. So I cast a Doom and Darkness here. So all of this stuff was kind of already on the ropes, especially with the leadership out. Now that minus 16 leadership debuff is going to cause all of this to crumble basically immediately. And just so much here that's really hard for the vampires to deal with. And then I combo the Doom of Darkness with the second Whale of Malice. Now that everything's balled up, and it's just gonna crumble out. It can't take that. So in terms of Death Ball, I mean, Vampire counts, they can do Death Ball with the best of them, but don't underestimate the Dark Elf Death Ball. I mean, if you really do want to go down that path, Morathi's the one to do it, I think, with the Death Hag. I mean, that's not a news flash. People have done that before. What's maybe a twist and people haven't seen is the Master to support with Anti-Large. So I have two Anti-Large Duelists in here. I've got the Massive Medusa. I've got the Ravagers to harass and deal with things like Mortis Engines and Snares. And I've got an answer to magic damage. So like Cairn Race, Hexa Race, Chillgeist, all that kind of stuff. You got the shooting from the Medusa to deal with the infantry, and then you've got the Doomfire Warlocks to deal with the cavalry, the Hexa Race, and also the Snare thing. So I was very satisfied with that build. It kind of did what I wanted it to do. So it's an option. How do you beat this? Well, yeah, use the breath attacks for sure. You need some sort of lion spell or vortex spell to clear the infantry. I mean, it is a very fragile army in terms of the high cost infantry. These guys, sisters, blackguard, they'll do great against chaff, but if you hit them with the vortex spells, cut their numbers in half, these individual entities could get surrounded pretty quickly, and then it could be tough for the dark elves. So against dark elves, yeah, you always want to have something to kill infantry, whether it's shooting or magic. It hurts because everything's so expensive. So I think that's all I got there. Thanks for watching. I might do some quick battles or just play with some of the other members of Dark Dynasty later tonight. Hope you enjoyed the replays, and we'll catch you later. Bye.